pretty sure I'm gonna need these, and these. Let's see, miscellaneous tools, sockets, and wrenches. Oh, I'm forgetting one thing. Most important thing, the parts. What's going on, guys? Today is going to be a video of a little bit different caliber than what I normally do. I'm going to be doing some repair work. I'm going to be taking you along for the ride. I've done a video like this, but it's been a couple of years and a whole host of different subscribers. And by the way, if you've subscribed to the channel in the last month, thank you so much. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you being here. And if you're new to the channel and you've never seen this, welcome. I appreciate you being here. My name is Brian, and you're watching Today, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be repairing this FS91R weed eater. Now, I'm going to give you just a real quick backstory of what happened. We were on a commercial job, and all of a sudden, it just quit. The head quit rotating. Well, I didn't know exactly what happened. I was suspicious of what happened, but I thought maybe the gear head had broke. So I happened to have another gear head. I changed them out, and it was the same result. So the only link between the engine and the power head is the clutch located right in here. So what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to be taking this thing apart. I'm going to be checking out the inner parts and replacing whatever needs to be replaced. But before we get into it, be sure and click the like button, subscribe button, click the notification bell, share the videos. You know the drill. Do it, please. I appreciate it. But anyway, I'm gonna get this thing taken apart and we're gonna see what we got. But before I do that, I'm gonna turn the camera around, or I'm gonna bring the head up here and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Now, this is the head. This is where the string is. This is the gearbox that drives the head. The shaft comes down from the clutch down the outer housing, and then it joins onto the coupler in here in the gearbox, and then it turns the gears in here, thus turns this. Well, you see, that's as far as it'll turn. Now I'm putting pressure on it. It won't turn that way, and it won't turn that way either. That means that the link between the engine and the head has malfunctioned. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to find out what the problem is. So I hope you stick around. Now, these are the parts that I'm almost positive I'm going to need. This is the clutch right here. Now, I bought this at my local dealer because I had to have it quick. I'm hoping this is in the shot. This is a clutch, and this clutch fits the FS90, the FS91, which is what this one is, the FS91R, the FS111, the FS130, and the FS131R. This fits all of those trimmers. And then these are the spacer plates that you put on it in between the engine and the clutch, what do you call that? The clutch barrel that is fastened to the end of the shaft. So what I'm going to do, I will leave a link in the description below for the Amazon listing where you can get this off of Amazon. And I'll put the part numbers and all that in the description box below. So let me get all this moved, and then we'll find out what tools we're going to need, and then we'll get this party on the road, get this party started. Now, let me put the trimmer back up here, and I will leave a detailed description of the tools that you're going to need, but I'm going to go over that now. So the first tool that you're going to need is, I swear, It never fails. Guys, if you've watched my videos at all, you'll know that if I come outdoors at my shop in my office to record a video, inevitably one of my neighbors that live down the road a piece, they're going to come down the road and have to leave. And it's Saturday, so it's kind of a standing joke with me. But anyway, you take this Torx. I do not have a clue what size Torx head this is, but it is this Stihl multi-tool. You see, you got your spark plug there, you got another smaller spark plug wrench there, and then you got your Torx head right there. So let me make sure this is in the shot before I get started, and it is. Let me see if I can get the camera just a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. See if I can zoom in here. There we go. Now, take this bad boy loose. Now, a little trick that my daddy taught me when you're taking stuff like this apart, whether it be on a car, a lawnmower, or what, you always put the bolt when it comes out eventually. Come on, come on. Quit being stubborn, all you heifer. There, I got it. Ah! Dad, burn it. There we go. You always put your bolt you locate your bolts where they actually came out, and you try your best not to interfere with them. That way you'll know you're putting them back in the same location. That may not matter to some people, but I've always found it to be helpful. That way, if the thread on one bolt is messed up and it's not on the other, you put the thread on this, and you put the bolt in the same hole. You're not messing up the threads on the other side. Now you put this one over here. Now what you have to do now, you have to rotate the trimmer because you have a bolt down here. And guys, this trimmer, it still runs phenomenally good. It's probably got, it's 7 years old, and it's probably got, I would have to say, probably 3,000 hours on it, maybe even a little better than that. Now, this one you put down here, that way you know it goes underneath and it goes at the point. Now, carefully rotate this assembly around like that, and it should just come apart like that. And there you go, that's the clutch. Now, I've got it separated. Let me see. I'm going to turn the camera around right here. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. And there's the power head right there, or the trimmer assembly. See if it, okay. The clutch is not the problem. So there's something else going on in that shaft. So that is not the problem. Let me study on this. I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to study on this a minute and see what we got. I decided to turn the camera back on so y'all could watch me do this. When you have a situation like this, it's a process of elimination. You take that off. See, now that'll spin. It'll spin both ways. Fine. No problem at all. So let me do this. There's only one other way to find out exactly what's going on, and that is to pull Okay, now it's turning, but you get right there and it doesn't. I'm gonna have to study on this a minute, guys. Let me cut this off and see what's going on. All right, guys, I got the shaft. Here's the shaft right here. This is the solid steel shaft that runs the length of this like this, and it is actually in very good shape. It's not drive grease or anything like that, so that's not the problem. So I'm going to take this assembly here off of the shaft and see if the bushing in this thing maybe drive grease. So let me do that. Let me turn the camera so you can watch what I'm doing. And again, this is just your standard steel Torx head that fits this thing. Was that? No, it wasn't too tight because it's still doing the same thing. I may have to go to another channel and see if this mechanic has ever encountered this problem. And that channel is called Chicanic. And I've learned a lot by watching her and see if she's ever encountered this issue, because I am literally at a loss for words. Let me clean this rascal real quick and see, because there's nothing that I can tell is broke up in there. It may just be dirty and dry. Let me do something. Let me do this. Be right back, guys. Okay, guys, I found the problem. I'm gonna try to show you this. If you look down in there, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Hold on a second. All right, I got me a flashlight now. I'm gonna try to shine it in there. You see that bearing down in there? That bearing, see that hunk of metal right there? Let me see. There you go. See that hunk of metal in there? The bearing is broke and it's missing some little balls. So I got to see if I can find a bearing and how to get that thing out of there. So stick around, guys. This is going to be interesting. Alright, guys, I thought I had some heavy grit sandpaper, but I didn't. All I had was 800 grit, but I'm going to turn it like this so the camera can see it. As you can tell, I sanded it down about as good as I could get it. Over time, the clutch will clean it. It's not the best in the world, but it's better than nothing, and it won't stop the clutch from working. But the next part I'm going to do on camera. And I got to have my specs on for this. I just read while the camera was off, you don't want to put any kind of cleaner down in there, because what little bit of grease is in there, down in there, the cleaner will cut. So what you do, you take your Q-tip and you stick it down in there like that, and then you just gently, you don't put any pressure on it, you just rub it like that, turn it so the Q-tip will deposit the grease into the bearing, or into that area, and then over a period of time it'll work itself down into the bearing. At least that's the general consensus. That you just pack that area with some grease and you turn it. See how the Q-tip is moving, and you just slather it up with grease a little bit and you turn it. Oh yeah, it's already getting even more free than it was. I'm gonna put me another blob down in there, and this is what I'm doing. I know this is not the way most mechanics would do it, but as my dad used to say, this is a bush fix. You do what you got to do with what you got. So let me get this mess kind of organized, and I will restart the camera, and we'll get this thing put back together and see what we got. All right, now, step one, you take the newly acquired collar and you inspect it to make sure there's nothing broken on it, there's no pieces missing, and there's not, and it's still turning free. So what you do, you match the side of the engine the top of the engine with the collar here where it goes, and you put this on the shaft like that, and it made it up fine. Then you turn it. Let me turn the shaft here where the engine will be sitting on it like that. And you move this out of the way, and of course that would be on the opposite side. Now what you're doing here, you're not going to really shank down on it. You're gonna just get on there where it'll stay like that. That way you can still turn it, but it won't come off. Then I got two different shafts here. I got to make sure I got the right one. Yep, right here. I'm going to turn the camera to the end. Alright, where's my shaft at? There we go. Then you take this and you feed it up through here like this. There it goes. It went right up in there. Now, let me put the trimmer head, gear head back on, and make sure it goes all the way up into that, onto that shaft, just like that. Now what you want to do, you want to eyeball and line that head up with the handle, because that up there, the clutch housing is not tight, so it's moving around the shaft. So you line this up with your handle, because the handle's tight. It's still 90 degrees from the handle, which is where it's supposed to be. And you pick this up and you eyeball it, make sure it's in line with the shaft. That's a little bit too much. Alright, let me try that. Oh, that's dead on the money. That's the money shot right there. Now, tighten this up. Snug it up good. You don't want to shank down on this too hard, because that's aluminum. It will strip. And if it strips, you either got to put a bolt in it or you just have to buy a new one. So now, I'm going to turn the camera. Right there. Now, remember how I said you put your bolts in the perspective positions that you took them out? Here's where that comes into play. Let me get all these big tools out of my way that I'm not going to need. Put them back where they belong. Now, you take this. Let me tighten this up just a tad more, because I don't want that thing moving around so free. I still want to be able to move it, but I don't want it to be help if I got, there we go. Now you put this bolt in here, get it started. And you lawn care guys that are watching this, you've probably done this 1,000 times. This is not necessarily for you, even though I appreciate you watching. And that bolt started right in. You don't completely snug it up, you just get it started. Now, there we go. Hopefully this one here will start just as easy. One thing my dad taught me, you new guys that are new to my channel have never heard me talk about, you know, my father. My father was a truck driver for 52 years. He died in 2010. Matter of fact, he died 9/11 of 2010. And he taught me a lot of what I know about mechanic work. And I mean, he rebuilt engines, he rebuilt transmissions. As a matter of fact, I'll put a picture of my father right here. My dad was a Cherokee and I believe Sioux Indian, and he had a little bit of other, you know, nationalities mixed in. I'm not sure which, but I do know those two. He was a firm believer in using what you had, taking the knowledge that you've got and doing your own work as much as you possibly can instead of paying someone else. Now, do I believe in paying other people when it's out of my purview? Absolutely. But this is the kind of stuff that I can handle. Now, what you want to do, you want to line, you want to take the trimmer and make sure the trimmer and the head are exactly matched, and they're not. So you turn the shaft just a hair more. I may have to move the head just a little bit too. That's a little bit too much. All right, let me try that. All right, now you tighten it up to where it doesn't move anymore. And the reason you have to do this is because there, if you saw, there was a shaft on the inner, there's a solid steel shaft, drive shaft inside this housing. And if it's off kilter anywhere, it'll throw off the torque and it could break that shaft. Even though it's a straight line, it still won't be in line. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to talk through this. I'm not going to move the camera. I'm going to eyeball the engine and the head, and it's a tad bit off, but not bad. Yeah, I moved it a skosh too much. Still a little bit too much. Try that. Ah, that's the money shot right there. Cha-ching! All right. Now, I'm going to slide the trimmer. Everything's back together the way it's supposed to be. Let me make sure I put the bolt in the bottom. And I did not. I did not. So let me put this bolt, this bottom bolt in. And it was cross-threaded, that's why I backed back out. I have not turned that head, the trimmer head down there, to see what kind of reaction I get. All right, so let me slide this down to where you can see it, and we'll see if this bush fix worked. I want to make sure it's in the camera shot, and it's not. So there we go. Now let's see what we got. Now it would not turn when this first happened. It wouldn't turn. Now if you're standing this way of the trimmer, this is clockwise, this is counterclockwise. Now when you're weed eating, the head spins counterclockwise this way. It wouldn't turn this way, but it would turn this way. So I started working with it. Well, and after about 2 minutes, it completely locked up to where it wouldn't move either way. So let's see what we got. I'm gonna do it with my finger. Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby, oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Yeah, honey. Honey, hush. Now I'm gonna get this thing cranked up and see what it does. Now if that clutch is still good, as I suspect it is, I can crank it up and that head will not move until I hit the throttle. See, it's not moving. That's what it's supposed to do. That clutch is in the closed position. When you hit the trigger, when you hit the throttle, the motor revs up and that centrifugal clutch opens up and locks against that hub and then turns the shaft and it turns this. So let's see what happens. Exactly what it's supposed to do. Let's see how it weed eats. I think we got her fixed. What you think? Well, guys, that's it. Problem solved. I was looking at calling a Stihl dealer and seeing if I could get that this hub today, and unfortunately most of your lawn care places, your dealers, close at 12 o'clock on Saturday. Well, I remembered that I had a stash of parts, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I do keep a stash of parts, and that is a helpful tip if you're running a lawn care business, or if you just work on stuff from time to time, your own stuff. Any parts like coils, spark plugs, clutches, anything like, you know, these parts, the gear parts, the trimmer head, anything like that that you can use, your outer housing, the inner shaft, anything like that, anything that can be taken off of one and used on another, keep those parts. Do not throw them away. But anyway, I'm glad I had that part. I really am. How long is it going to last? I don't know. That's why I put more grease in it, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to do this again in a week. I went ahead, it still turned free, but I wanted to make sure it had plenty of lubrication before I put it back together. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you learned something. I really do. And for my new subscribers, I don't do repair videos a lot, but when I do, I get good response. If you would, please be sure and click the like button and the subscribe button, guys. Please, I would appreciate it. Click the comment, leave me some. I've been getting some great comments, but I did get one comment that I want to say something about toward the end, since it's the end of the video. I had a comment from a lady. I don't know who she is. Never had a comment from her before. Now you see how I'm dressed. I'm in the state of North Carolina. I am 22 miles due east of Fort Bragg. And it'll always be Fort Bragg to me, but that's neither here nor there. It's hot, it's humid, and it's uncomfortable when you've got, now, there's a lot of guys out there that can wear long sleeves, the moisture wicking long sleeve shirts that look like they just come from Bass Pro Shop. That ain't me. I dress for cool and comfortable. And this lady just made a real ugly comment. Where's your professional shirt? You know the kind that wicks moisture. And I guess it's because she didn't like seeing the sweat on my shirt. Well, here's the way I do it. I find, you see I wear the same color shirt every video, unless I'm doing something different. But when I'm doing a work-related video, I wear the same color shirt. Now what I do, I go on Amazon, and I find the muscle tees that are moisture wicking. They're wicking the moisture away from your skin, and then it evaporates quicker. Well, I find I try to get the same color shirts so I will have consistency with my customers, with the way I look, way I present myself on a job, and on my videos. And that's the reason why you see me with the same color shorts most of the time and the same colored shirts. Now, the only variable in my videos is my bandanas. And the reason I wear a bandana, 2 reasons. Number 1, it keeps the trash out of my hair from doing lawn care. Number 2, this part right here is rolled up and it absorbs the moisture and keeps the sweat and keeps it from running down on my glasses and me having to stop constantly and clean the sweat off of my glasses, off my safety glasses. So anyway, that's that. But anyway, it was kind of odd that she would mention that. The grass doesn't know the difference of what kind of shirt you're wearing. If the customer is satisfied with the way you present yourself on their property, that's all that matters. And so I deleted that comment. I didn't even bother to respond because I'm not going to get into what my daddy used to say, a pissing contest. That's not what my channel's about. So anyway, I just wanted to address that. I thought it was funny. But anyway, this is Brian with Big South Outdoors TV, reminding you to live big, live southern, and live outdoors. Until the next time, folks, have a good one.